Hello everyone, welcome to the Season 7 Apex Arena Playoff Day 2. So this is 128 going to 64. Now my opponent for this day was Kavin H. And he has a quite interesting box. If you look at a lot of non-meta heroes, definitely Omega, you have Rainforce, then you have this dude, I don't remember his name, Yusuke, and then even Estelle. So definitely a rush box when you see Estelle and Aka, and plus Werner of course, and Horse Jugler. And I did do my research, so one thing I just didn't want to deal with, just for the fact that I don't have very high skill on all of my characters, some of them do, not all of them, is Omega. So did my homework right off the bat. I already know my plan. First ban Omega and deal with the rest later. And on my side, I actually switched up my box a little bit. I even changed my Elwyn to Lancer to deal with the Horse Juggler here, and as well as using Maiya, although it's gonna backfire on me a little bit. But let's get on with the first game. So first game, they got rid of my Hilda, because faction buffs a lot of my characters. I got rid of Omega, went with Landius. Okay, got rid of Juggler and my teleport there. Went with Horse Juggler, which makes sense. I get rid of Rosenseal and also SP Elwyn, and I see he has a lot of AoE, so I went with Betty. He then, of course, this is a very deadly combo, the Juggler and the Light of Genesis, and we're going to see that in action. And I went with Bernhardt to reinforce. Got my Rosenseal banned and went with Dilit, because he doesn't know if I had a horse or a Landius. So then I went with a healer. Got rid of Luna, my fusion buffer for her. Went Werner because it's gonna help enable them get a little farther. I was a little, well, I guess he can also snipe, because Aka is actually a better enabler, but I think what he wanted to do is he wanted to snipe, and that's why he brought Werner. And then I brought SP Altemuller, and he brought Estelle. So double tank, sort of tank, but this is not really a tank. He's more of a threat and to kill stuff and lock you down. So let's take a look at soldiers and skill selection. I went with a Templar Knight because this magic here, magic here. I went with Bernhardt, and instead of using other skills, I actually went with Hegemony. So my build is I have Hegemony plus 3C, double Hegemony, and then also have the hammer, which dispel. So triple dispel on Bernhardt. Went with typical for Betty, and went with gospel for Liana, and then pretty standard for SP Altemuller. Now on their side, they have Werner, very typical. He even went with Elvin Aura, which he probably doesn't care about Juggler because she probably never get close to him. Standard for Light of Genesis, and then standard for Estelle, and of course same with Juggler. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So I move forward, activating my guard. He boosts everyone up. Ooh, so I got a really nice breeze here with my SP Altemuller, and if everything works out and he doesn't have the right guard up, I can actually do some crazy stuff. But my positioning is actually faulty, and he saw that and he went in and jumped in first, so do a little damage to me and move back. Then he teleported and locked my tank down. I tried to do some damage. I was trying to dispel. But it didn't work. So I'm still locked down. I wasn't doing, and I don't have my fusion buff, so I wasn't be able to do enough damage. And unfortunately for me, because she has that, and she got a breeze, she came in and kill off my SP Altemuller. So really good tactics there. Good job. So he got first blood. I went there, act again, and try to do some crazy stuff with Bernhardt again, but unfortunately still didn't kill Jugler. That's a really tough Juggler, especially because of the werewolves. And I didn't have a fusion buff, so he's still alive. And here he comes. I have no buff, but you notice that, hey, it didn't kill, which is kind of weird, right? So there's a couple reasons why. One, my Tennyo debuffed him, and I'm not sure if it was that. I think it was the attack minus, or the damage. I'm not sure which one it was. Most likely the attack one, because this is a 2-turn. No, actually no, the damage out. I'm not 100% sure. It could be the damage out. But what's more important is that Bernhardt aura weakened him as well, so his attack is minus 15%. So even with Estelle's buff, he didn't do enough. He didn't have enough attack basically to kill me. So all the RNG favor my side. So Liana's still alive, so I still have a chance. So it's still 4 against 5. Okay, so moving on. So he went away. I buffed myself up. And funny enough, he do a beast shock. Still couldn't kill me because thanks to Bernhardt debuff his defense, so his beast shock is not as strong. But this time, bye bye Jugler. Okay, so finally killed Jugler. And I reposition myself to make sure that I'm protected. I just went in there to do some damage. I didn't want to use my 3C just yet, because she has Gospel. I wanted to wait until that's ended. Okay, I finally started my fusion buff. After, I don't know what, turn 3 now? So he retreated there. Not quite enough. I live with how much life? 192, was it? Yeah, 192 HP, which is great because now I can have Liana heal up. She's badly damaged because of thorns and also because of Betty. Okay. Here she comes. Heal herself up. Heal body back up. And the reason why I didn't heal Landius instead of herself, I'm sorry, I heal myself instead of Landius because she still have an AoE. So if I didn't heal myself, she could have AoE and I could have died. So she have to stay alive. And a nice thing about Landius is his command reduces the range damage, so she should still be able to live. And what's so great still yet is Bernhardt's aura reduces her attack as well. So even this is a very high defense and attack normally, but because of Bernhardt's minus 15%, that Estelle is not as threatening. However, she was able to kill off Landi's first life, which is okay. This is when I went in and did the 3C, because now everybody is still blocked. Nice. Okay, now she did the 3 names, but I will live. and then Betty finished her off. That was a trade. But unfortunately for me, because he's horse against both horse against sword, I died. My Betty died. But one thing about Bernhardt is he's a beast, literally. And because Light of Genesis did not have full HP, the sorceress was not able to be strong enough. And you know, again, my werewolves were very, very sturdy, so was able to survive that attack. And that's important because if Bernhardt died, then guarantee would have been GG. So I want to make sure Bernhardt doesn't die. So instead of healing herself, I her, and because I've act again, then the game is over. So I got game 1. A bit of RNG there. Pick the right soldiers for Landius, and Betty certainly helped. So now he switched up Reinforce with Clotaire. So as usual, Ben Omega first, especially as player 1. I got hit with a ban again first as usual. He went in with Juggler. I should have picked Landius, but I picked Juggler, and I did ban T Jess because I didn't want the same thing to happen again. Got rid of now my tank and Rosensteel as expected. I didn't expect this, but you know, I guess that's how he liked to play. I brought a healer for act, especially if player 2 you want act again. He knew how dangerous Bernhardt is, so he banned it pretty early. Still want to use Werner for sniping. I got rid of the AoEs. Pick Betty again. Got rid of SP Altemuller and then T Jess. The T Jess would be threat for both of them, excuse me. Got rid of Rosensteel and Gospel. Went with Ares. Got rid of Lico and Luna, and then pick up this guy. I gotta try to remember his name. I can't remember his name. And I picked Maiya, which I thought at that time was a good choice, but we'll see. Okay, so this guy's name is Shibaraku Tsurugibe. So that's his real name. But and you can see, wow, no buff attack, really nice. He can use werewolf, very, very crazy, nice HP. And he has a really nice kit, battle cry dispels. And I think the battle assault, which I'm familiar with, actually disables guard, which is horrible, right? That hits really hard and it disables guard. And then I think this is another, the 3C does attack and then does some kind of AoE after. And he has 3 lives, so he's a pain to deal with. He's 6 stars. Same here, regular here. He did pick Cleanse, which is a single attack instead of fusion buff. I guess he doesn't need it because you have Estelle. And then Werner for the buff. On my side, I knew there was going to be werewolf, so I did bring Zealots, double holy. And I thought I was smart, and I even have Cleanse, so it should hit pretty hard. Let me see, pretty standard here. And then to help her, I actually brought fusion buff with Ares instead of his normal kit. Okay, but I made a lot of mistakes on this one, and I'll explain when we get there. Okay, so in the beginning, as usual, he buffs with speed buff for everybody. I went forward. He's just moving forward. He's just setting up. So this is my first mistake, the positioning of where Ares is. Okay, he went and buffed everybody. So he's ready to charge in next turn. He's player 1. This is my second mistake. I gospeled Liana. And the reason for that is at that time I thought it was a good idea, but I forgot that he has this battle assault which disables guard. So here comes Battle Cry, dispel something, hit me really hard. Wow, look at that damage. So let's take a look at what happened. What did he do? He did a lot of... He dispelled my... Well, he didn't dispel water, but he did dispel my guard, and he made this called unable to guard. Reduce my defense, and... Oh, and I think that's from the roar. Was it roar or the battle cry? The battle cry is what did it. So... Now, the reason why I said this is a misposition and gospel should have went on him is that one, this gospel would have definitely helped with his defense, but it would have probably prevented the unable to guard. So now, because of an unable guard, he can basically come in and kill her, not her, but at least maybe her, which is bad news for me. So I had to do something, but the problem is, if you look at Werner's ability to move, he can hit anywhere around this area and ignore guard, even if I had guard up. And then Werner can't really reach this spot right here where Ares is, but again, Ares is blocking Liana, so Liana has to heal him. But problem is, in order to heal him, she has to gotta move to this spot, which is gonna be killed by water, unfortunately. So let's see what happens. So I healed, get him back to full. Dispelled that, but I don't have Bernhardt anymore. And yep, there goes. So that was a trade. So Ares went in, killed his Werner. So it's a trade. But I'm at a disadvantage because I have no healer, which I really needed. And this guy has 3 lives. So he comes in, hits me really hard. And I failed the kill, which that's so saddening. 677 life left. That's just sad. And I'm not even sure why. I had 80%, so I just missed it by that little bit, I guess. Yeah, it's really sad. I dispelled the defense buff. I didn't dispel the magic defense buff. If I think I dispelled the magic defense buff instead, would have been a kill. And I didn't have full life, so I missed 1 hit probably. So that's very, very unfortunate there. Okay. Then I went in. I already lost guard, so I want to get guard back. Jump. I did kill off and locked him down. And he jumped in with his juggler. And his juggler is able to move and lock me down. So I went in there and did a 3C just to make sure I do a heal block. I did kill 1 life. But he gets stronger every time he dies. I still have 2 lives. And he'd be shocked, kill my Ares off. And he was really smart. Okay, so he was really smart because he went and moved and locked my Maiya down. Because if he stayed in place, I would have been able to kill him with Maiya. But because he locked me down, Maiya can't kill him, and she might kill herself trying to attack into 25,000 attack. I could have taken the chance, but I didn't. That's because she does have melee penalty. I was able to kill another life. He's locked down, so he's useless. But one thing about Maiya is that she has her talent, which is normally super good, because if you have a debuff on someone, it dispels them. But here's the problem. When his juggler, I went first and his juggler went second and put a debuff. So if you went back and looked, I actually had this right here. Debuff for my regular water turning into a debuff. And when I acted with Maiya first, I lost my I lost my water buff, as you can see from here. So that's my third mistake in this game, which cost me the game, because now I'm no longer able to kill Jugler. Just for the fact he has werewolves, and even though he doesn't have werewolves now, my Betty is sword. Sword would do almost no damage to a horse, and as you can see, yeah, see, I lost my water buff, so my Jugler is useless. Unfortunately. Yep, just not enough damage. If I had my water, I would have killed him. Or at least this follow-up would have killed him. So, yeah. So now he can heal. Came in, kill off Maiya. I have no way of killing Jugler now because I have a sword against a horse. And then I have a... Yeah, that... So sad. And he can actually heal with his Odious. I'm gonna watch the rest of the game, but I'm no threat to him. I can't do any damage, unfortunately. There go Jugler. And I give up. Okay, so now on to the third game. Okay, so he switched to Wataru. I instead of having Sekiteng, I took out Landius and I brought in Yulia. And he banned Hilda as usual, and I'm gonna ban Omega. But one thing about Wataru is that if you don't know how he works, he's super dangerous. He's very long leg. He's able to disable guard on your tank. And he hits super hard, plus he heals every round. So he is a high ban target. So let's see how the ban pick on this one goes. Okay, got rid of Omega as usual. I had to pick a tank, so I pick up Jugler. Yep, ban Betty because you don't want to deal with it. Of course, Yulia, because Yulia would have been able to kill Jugler easy. Got rid of the two dangerous combos as usual, but I actually get to pick Rosensil this time because he banned Betty first. Okay, he got rid of Bernhardt and Ares, and he picked his favorite Werner. I got rid of Rosensil and Odious this time to make sure he can't buff him, and I was able to pick T Jess, which is bad news for him. Okay, then I got rid of my Elwyn. Again, pick his Estelle. Looked like he really likes her. Got rid of Himiko and Yusuke. And went with SP Altemuller. Got rid of my Maiya, which can kill him. And he got to pick Colter. But I wasn't too scared because I had Rosensil and then also had Jugler. Got rid of them two. And then picked up Luna to counter him as well. And then so if what he should have done, actually it wouldn't really help because I have Rosensil and I would rather steal guard, and he probably knew that's why he didn't pick him. But he wanted to use a magic user to kind of deal with, I guess, Jugler, which kind of makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at the skill and picks here. So let's see. So SP Altemuller. I didn't have... Oh, no, actually, no, I do. So I brought fusion buff for SP Altemuller using Rosensil. Okay, so then right here, she can buff herself. He's doing okay. And then I actually went with this combo instead. So fusion buff, wind spiral, and raging thunder on Luna. On their side, pretty standard 3 standard. He went with So I didn't actually look very carefully at what his skills was, and I did do a little research, and I should have known, but I didn't check. He didn't bring his 3C, so he went with the act again, I think. And this is a second act again, but this is a single target here, single target magic attack. And the reason he brought that is because I'm using Juggler, and I didn't bring magic guard. Okay, so what that means, if I'm not guarding magic, he can just literally come in and just kill almost anybody except for Luna. Okay, but I thought he was bringing 3C, but I should have checked. That was my fault. And then he had Werner, Juggler as usual, and then he has SP High. But the one thing nice about this one is Light of Genesis should be able to one-shot Juggler, so he has to stay away. He couldn't just rush in and do his thing. So for the first couple rounds, that's what we're gonna see. We're gonna do a lot of dancing around and just kind of hanging out. Not really much to say, so we're just gonna watch. So he's powering up. I'm just powering up as myself. Just kind of hang back, make sure I stay out of the way of Werner. Don't get sniped. And notice he moves Juggler after I move my Light of Genesis. Ooh, that's nice. And then I wanted to share also a little secret. If you're watching this, at the end we're gonna go back to it on SP Altemuller. Okay, so I actually made a mistake here by activating my 3C a little too early, because I thought he was gonna come in and do his 3C, but I didn't even like I said earlier, Clotaire doesn't even have his 3C. It's a single target, so that was my mistake. And then I'm gonna make my first mistake right here. So he's teleporting forward. I moved forward and literally gave my Light of Genesis away, because what he's gonna do is he's gonna come in, power up, and one-shot me, even with Luna. But because he was able to break 100% with Twilight, so I had to come back in and take revenge. So it's a trade, but it's a bad trade because T Jess is what keeping his Juggler away. So now he has quite a bit of damage, and I want to make sure. And then the reason why I had to jump here is because he still has SP Hein, and SP Hein has this 2C, which has a single attack. And even though his intel is not that high, it's still very dangerous. I didn't want him to come in and snipe my SP Altemuller or somebody. So even with Luna, I was a little scared. So because I'm guarding now, he's just kind of hanging back. Okay, so this is the part where my opponent made the mistake. So you notice that I moved my SP Altemuller forward and charged. Okay, because you know, if you go back to where before I moved, this is what he has. So he has Juggler. He should have jumped. Okay, he should have did what I did, jumped. So he's guarding, but he didn't. He wanted to save it. Okay. And if he jumped, he would have done no damage because Rosenseal has gave everybody 3C, which would have hit everybody up. So he didn't want to jump forward, but he didn't jump backwards either. Now with with Estelle, I believe what her talent allows her to take all physical attack or an adjacent friendly units. But in order for her to guard 2 range, I believe she has to use either Whirlwind Staff or Phoenix Wave. I think you have to use a skill that does something, and then by doing that, it will activate her Steel Titan, which basically allow her to guard 2, if I remember correctly. But he didn't. I don't know why. Maybe he choked, or maybe he doesn't know how SP Altemuller work. Because my win condition is kill these 2, the 2 DPS, right? So let's see what happens here. So I move forward, and he didn't guard, didn't use any skills. So I went in, pulled everybody in, use my 3C. Okay, kill off SP behind easily, 40k damage. Heal back to full. Use my 3C again and kill off Werner. Two threats. So both dead. You only have 2 tanks left. I'm gonna take a lot of damage. Unfortunately, I'm too far away to save him, and he locked me down, so I can't run away. So I just had to buff everybody up. So Rosensteel was too far away, couldn't help. And now he be shocked, so GG for SP Altemuller. But it's okay because everybody thinks that Luna can do damage, especially against Estelle with so high defense, but not always. So the game, I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't double check the skills, but I think my opponent, I don't know what may have happened, but 2 mistakes at the very end. Like literally, he threw the game. Didn't jump with Juggler, and Estelle didn't use a skill so that she's guarding 2 range. And because of that, I was able to take advantage of the situation, jumping with SP Altemuller, killing both the DPS, and then his Estelle trying to attack my SP Altemuller got damage, which allowed my Luna to finish the job. So yeah, that was game. And you know, and you know what, you know, it's hard to say because when you're playing against someone in playoff, time is, you know, we are thinking a lot. He's spending a lot of time thinking, and yeah, I think I probably caught him off guard somehow. I'm not sure exactly what, but anyways, that's how I see it. Maybe someone who knows Kavin H may have a different story, but it was very strong opponent indeed. Very strong opponent indeed. So thank you for the match. Other than that, I think that's it for now. We will look at my day 3 and 4 in another video. But you know, thank you for joining me today. Take care and aloha.